whether you know anything about astrology or not, that's okay. Because we're, well, I have a book that I have for sale. I didn't bring them with me, but if you want to come to Awaken, I have them there. It's $10 and it's very basic, and it talks about the glyphs or signs and why they were made, and they start with the universal O or circle and the cross. So all the symbols have those two things in them, the planet and the sign. And then each one, I got the whole 12, and I also give you a little blurb about what the house means, you know, on the top. So it's very simple and would help you do the symbols. On the front cover of what you have here today are all the signs of the zodiac. They never change their order. It's always Aries first, Pisces last, no matter how you turn the wheel. Maybe you didn't know that. Okay, they never change their order. Okay. Something that, I don't know, maybe they do say it, maybe they don't, whoever they are. Okay, so awaken via astrology. I don't know how many of you are awakening, but you're here, so I would say you're probably halfway there at least, including my friends over here. But seriously, astrology is very complex, and when you're learning astrology, the best thing to do is to get as many charts as you can of family members or friends, especially if you know their time. Because when you're learning, you need to look at other charts. I mean, yourself, look at your own, figure out who the heck you are, you know, and if you haven't done that by now, I do offer that for $125 for an hour, and I give you the progressions and your solar return. Come around your birthday, that's the best time to get this whole solar return. What does that mean? Well, the sun comes back to the position it was at in your birth chart. So if you're 0 Aries in 0 minutes, it's going to be around March 20th, 19th, or 21st, or maybe 22nd. And then the sun will return. But the other planets will be different. Every year they'll be different. And the ascendant will be different. But the sun will return. Thus, solar return. Okay, sun is solar. Okay. So that's one way to awaken. Every year you have a chart. Every month you have a lunar return. Bet you didn't know that. Okay, my program has them. I don't do them often. It's a 27.5 day, give or take a quarter or whatever. This is a leap year, so might add a little bit more to each moon, who knows. But when you do the computer, yeah, okay, that's fun. You miss a lot with the computer. I learned, I've been doing this 57 years, I learned to do the math. Probably most of you don't know that there's math involved. And I'm not a mathematician, trust me. However, when you see Venus ahead of the sun, Mercury ahead of the sun, next to the sun, or behind the sun, even in a different sign than the sun, which is possible, there's motion. There's motion and there's movement in your chart. Everybody's got this, but everybody's got it in a different position, okay? Now today, my chart is here. I will pass it around. I have a 17 Taurus rising, so you know that's my chart, but my planets are in the middle. Today's planets for the talk are on the outside. Thus it says there, Earth Spirit Expo, 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Okay, so this you will see in the 10th house on top, and these are not numbered, so that's going to be difficult, but you know, just start counting. Everyone know there's an ascendant? Everybody know that? The ascendant, what's your rising sign? Okay, that's, all right, we'll do a little basic. Okay, on the bottom, if you were born at midnight, your sun is down here, either in the 3rd or 4th house. 2 a.m. is here, 4 a.m. is here, 6 a.m., that's your ascendant. That's sunrise, ascendant, okay? So if you have, you're born at 6 o'clock, you've got your sun in a sign, and your ascendant might be the exact same sign. depending on daylight saving and that kind of wartime. I was born with wartime. Okay. So, and then you go here, 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock, 12 noon. 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., Libra with the hump, sun is setting. Okay? This all makes sense if you think about it. And then we've got 8, 10, and then the next day again, midnight. Okay? So, the 10th house has what I have in the book, the stellium. Usually it's at least 3 planets, it could even be 4 and 5, within 10 degrees. So we have Pluto, the main star of the show today, Pluto, 0 Aquarius, and let me get the glasses, 52 minutes, so it's almost to 1. Venus is at 1 and 20 minutes of Aquarius, and Mars is at 3 and 27 minutes. So they are within only 3 degrees actually. It's very powerful. So there is a page in here where I talk about what is a stellium, and I go Aquarius stellium because they're all in Aquarius. And then I've got the 3rd house for a reason. If you look in the middle page, we're going to get to that. Everybody's got their own copy. That stellium's in the 3rd house of the USA chart. And the 8th house, that's where all the planets were when the signing of the Declaration of Independence happened. So I put those 2 stelliums in there, what that means. Because each house, you got the brochure separate. Open that up, it tells you the houses and what they mean, the brochure. Now that's separate with my picture on the front, it's like a piece, yeah, that's it there. Okay, open that up and you get the first 3 basic lessons of astrology right there. You got all your glyphs and the word in English and then a short meaning of what it is. And then if you've got a copy of your chart, you can put those in the houses and you can read what that means. So you can say sun in the mine is 9th house, Capricorn. So I got 3 things, right? Sun, Capricorn, so you got 2 meanings there. And then you go to 9th house, which is on the right, I guess, the right there. And the 9th house is what? Metaphysics, spirituality, religion, whatever. Okay? See how I did that?
I have no idea. No idea.
On the bottom, it shows all your glyphs. So you look for your sun sign. Are you Taurus? Are you Gemini? Scorpio? Whatever you are. That's what the sun means in Scorpio. So you see the glyph? Scorpio is got the sexual innuendo. Up, arrow up. Sexual innuendo. What does it rule? Well, one of the things is 8th house, sex. You know, it's Scorpio's house. Okay. Virgo is closed. The Virgin, closed. The M, and it's closed. Okay? Why? Because it's a virgin, right? Okay, see, these things make sense if you think about it. Okay, so you look for your own sun sign, and if you know your time, you're born at midnight, put it in the 3rd or 4th house. Okay? And then you figure out what your goals, or if you're a woman, what kind of man you're going to attract. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. So that little thing, if you want to go to cafeastrology.com, which I've been taking on the newsletter, I've been taking what the sign means for the month. Cafeastrology.com for free. If you know your time and you don't have a copy of your chart, you can put it in and they'll give it to you, and then you can print it if you have a printer, or get your friend to print it for you if you don't have a printer. Don't keep it on your phone. I can't read those, they're too small. I get enough trouble with big paper. Okay, so put it in a file, take it to a printer, print it on your own printer, whatever you wanna do. But get your chart. Okay, then you can take that pamphlet I passed out, the brochure, and you can start to read what your chart actually means. Jupiter in whatever sign. In what? Mine is Leo in the 5th house, okay? You'll memorize your chart eventually. Okay? Alright, so what we're gonna talk about today is awakening via astrology. Some of you are already awake by just what I said, right? You've got a sun and it's in a house and a sign. Okay, so that's a good thing, and that's just your sun. Actually, the word aspects, that might be a new one you've never heard. Have any of you done geometry in school? Did you take geometry? Anybody? One girl? Yeah, who wants to do math? 2 over here. Okay, 3. All right, geometry would help because it's a 360-degree circle just like any other circle. And each sign is 30 degrees. Times 12, 360, right? 3 times 12, 36. Okay, so that's how you start. And if you were born on the equator, you would have equal houses. That's what they call it, equal houses. So whatever your ascendant would wind up being, say it's 0 Aries, 0 would be on each cusp. That's what each line is called, by the way. It's called a cusp, each line. Remember I said the times? Those are cusp lines. Okay. All right, so I guess we'll start here. This is my chart in today's, but what I want you to look at is the 10th house. It's in my 10th house. Here I am speaking. And Pluto is the star of the show. We got another chair here. Susie's gonna have 1 chair. We got 2 here. Okay. So I printed 50 of these books, so we should have enough. Standing room is welcome. Okay. All right, so in the middle of the book, go to bed. Real easy, just open up the book now, the booklet. We're beyond the brochure right now. Okay, so here we have, I labeled it, I hope you can follow it. There's 3 circles. Okay, so the inside circle, which is tough to read, here's the 8th house over here. That's the USA chart for the signing of the declaration. Now, there's a lot of people who do Gemini rising, and there's several that do Sagittarius rising, and I don't really care. I do Scorpio rising, 8 degrees, Irene's chart. You know, she's my friend. She's got the USA chart. She's got a pride. So am I. Craziness. Okay, so that's the chart in there, and I'm sorry it's so little, but these glasses do help. Now, the inner middle wheel, what I'm calling the middle wheel, these are the progressions, a day for a year. So how many years has it been? 248. We're in the 248th year of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And why is Pluto the star of the show? Because the cycle for Pluto is 248 years. Now, astrologers for the last 2 years have been talking about the Pluto return. It finally did return, but it only goes 4 degrees in about 18 months. So it's going to go back into Capricorn in September, I don't remember the date, around the 12th maybe, until after the election. 3 weeks later, in November of this year, it will finally go back to 0 Aquarius. And where is it at today? 0 Aquarius. So it's going to go retrograde for a while during the summer. It's going to be a hot year. Okay, so what does this mean? Pluto return. We don't live long enough for that. Unless in a past life you were Ben Franklin, which I'm wondering if I was. I have such an affinity for that guy. And I found out from my DNA from 23andMe that I'm in the Ben Franklin genome. So who knows? So I came up with this thing. What if you have the same DNA in all your lives? And if I was him and I'm in his genome and I've still got similar stuff, I don't, who knows? Who really knows? But he was alive for this. He was part of the responsibility of this. And he's in my genome. I always liked the guy, even when I was, a kid. Okay, so then, the outer wheel, that's today, Earth Spirit Expo, 1 p.m., the talk. And there's the stellium in the 3rd house of the USA chart. Okay, so start here, 8 degrees Scorpio. Can you read that? It's Scorpio with the arrow going up. That's your ascendant for the chart. So that's 1st house. Cusp, 2nd house, cusp, 3rd house. What does 3rd house mean? You go back to the brochure. It's communication. It's Gemini's house. You can't get enough. Talking. Where's the moon today? Gemini. Yeah, there it is in the 8th house of where the sun is. Sun's in Cancer, of course. Everybody knows that, right? July, Cancer. Moonchild. They should have called the disease something else. It's really hard. But I had one with cancer, so I know. Trust me. So here's the moon, right here at this moment in time, 1 o'clock, maybe it moved a little bit. I don't know how far past 1 we are. In the 8th house, what we're talking about. What is the 8th house? Scorpio's house, can't get enough. It's everybody else's money but yours. So the government, oh, gee, why is that all in the 8th house? And Scorpio rules the chart. So now we've got 8th house ascendant, that sign is ruling, and the Cancer sun, I think it's 13. Where the heck is it? Should be in there. Okay. So, I think it's 13, as Ben Franklin said. Now I did on one of these pages, I put a quote from Ben Franklin. Yeah, it's page 9. This is the page 8 and 9. The Declaration, July 4 at 7076. It's on the second line, 2:21 p.m. It's on the dollar bill. I think it's the $100 bill. On the back, anybody have one? There's the Liberty the building in Philadelphia, and there's a clock, and it says 2:21. Now, I think if you do 2:21 a.m., you get the Gemini ascendant. I've looked at that too.
Wow.
But I like the Scorpio ascendant, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, Ben Franklin wanted the turkey to be our bird, but he got out-talked. So what do we have? The eagle. And what does the eagle rule? Scorpio. So that makes sense to me. I don't know. I just go by partly psychic, partly facts. Okay. So the quote is over here, the last, was that the one? Let's see. It doesn't look like it. I forget. Oh, here it is on page 7. So that's the American Revolution spread here, 2.0. Why do we call it 2.0? Because Pluto returned. What does Pluto rule? Revolution, one of the words. Transcendence. Total change. How many of you are feeling this shift? We've been talking about it for a couple of years, right? Anybody with the birthday around January 20, 19, 20, 21, 22, I've been getting a lot of you for readings, but trust me, all of a sudden Pluto went on your sun for good,
That
0.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Both my sons.
There it
are
is.
on.
We're like a balancing act here. So, you won't have Pluto go over your sun. If mine is going halfway, Leo to Aquarius. Okay, that makes sense, right? Mine's in Leo. Wherever my chart is going around. Did everybody keep passing it? That wasn't to keep. Anybody got it? Okay.
That was the pass.
No, that's not to keep. Oh, she still has it. Okay, give it to other people, yeah. So my my Pluto is, I believe it's 8 degrees. And my north node is conjunct by Pluto, by the way, the best thing you can have. I found out from Jeffrey Green. Anyone ever heard the Pluto book by Jeffrey Green? If you're serious about astrology, good book. Great book. Explains a lot. Pluto conjunct the north node. I can do no wrong. It's in my 4th house of endings and new beginnings. Perfect place for Pluto, right? Endings and new beginnings, Scorpio. It does rule Scorpio. Did I say that? I don't know if I did. Pluto does rule Scorpio too. So we got a lot of this stuff going on. So the quote by Ben Franklin on the bottom of the page here, last paragraph, is, "Courteous reader, astrology is one of the most ancient scientists had in high esteem of old by the wise and great. Formerly no prince would make war or peace, nor any general fight a battle. In short, no important affair was taken without first consulting an astrologer, who examined the aspects and configurations of the heavenly bodies and marked the lucky hour. Now the noble art is dwindled into contempt. The great neglect us. Empires make leagues, and parliaments laws, without advising with us, and scarce any other use is made of our learned labors." Sounds kind of colloquial sounding, but that's his quote. So, why do I put that in there? There's another paragraph there that says, what did he do? He was a printer. I have been in printing a long time. He had in his newspaper or newsletter, or whatever you want to call it, the daily news, the Poor Richard's Almanac. Does anybody follow that now? You can buy it at Tops or whatever magazines on the beginning of the year. What does he do in there? He tells you when to when to grow, when to dig the weeds out, when to fish, when not to fish. What are we following here? The cycles of the moon, yes? Okay, so the moon rules the public. So today, the moon in Gemini, everybody wants to know what's going on. Let's get in the car, rules cars, short trips, here we all are. Today. Yesterday it was in Taurus. Maybe I'll go to the mall. Maybe I'll come back for those shoes. Then they're gone when you come back. You don't want to part with your money when the moon's in Taurus. Last 2 days, moon in Taurus. Where's it going next? Cancer. So you might have something like domestic, at home. You might, invite party people in your family. I shouldn't have said party. Could have a party if you want. But seriously, maybe you want to, reach out to the family in some way, or maybe cook up a meal. I don't know. Real chefs, things like that. Food, clothing, shelter. That's Cancer. Food, clothing, shelter. The basics that you need every day. Then we get to Leo. Now we're going to party. Let's go have a good time. Let's go to the movie. Let's go to the opera, whatever you like, and let's go gamble. Oh yeah, Leo rules gambling too. Taking a risk. I call it taking a risk. Being on stage, the actors. Here I am world. Every Leo, they walk in the room, they look taller than they really are. Or the Leo ascendant will do that, for sure. Okay, so the moon every 2.5 days, that's that cycle we're talking about. 2.5 days to 248 years. 2 different cycles. The fastest one and the slowest one that we know of. Who knows, we might get another planet again. But, so, that's the American Revolution. You can read that. And read about the stellium, which is going to be on page 12 and 13. So the stellium has power. Now, it is today and this is for the same time as the chart that you're looking at, my chart with it in my 9th house. Actually, it's in my 10th house. But in the USA chart, it's in the 3rd house. Now that can be confusing, but that's where it is, okay? So if you know what you have rising, you know your time of birth, then you'll know where Pluto is in your chart. It's in Aquarius. So where Aquarius falls in your chart is where it is. That's where you're making the changes and the shifts. Mine is in the 10th, public life. Here I am talking. For the first time since probably the 90s when I really had a crowd to talk to. Yes?
Is your year of birth accurate? Really? You look amazing. I just had to say that.
Thank you. No, I'm gonna cry for sure.
Really impressive, really. Yeah.
Yes, I
We need-
just
we need your tips.
entered my 80th decade of life, and I need to get this information out.
Yes.
And I don't care if you're older than me or younger, or you got a kid at home who's 5 who wants to know about the stars. These people making the news. Oh, I'm just kidding. But seriously, yes, I've been studying this for 57 years, and I've been using it in my life at least monthly. I can't say daily because, you know, you don't want to get too caught up in it, you know. So you don't. But what you do know is some slow-moving planet. Now, Venus and Mars are right there in the stellium. And at Awaken, I have a book that it's called Planets in Composite. And I can't think of the guy's name, John, I know is the first name. It'll come to me. He talks about planets in composite, meaning anything that's together. Or you could even go like further, where planets are further apart, like Uranus, Moon, Jupiter, Uranus, Moon. You could even read that, even though it's wider, where the planets are today. Because Jupiter and Uranus are both in Taurus, and one of them's in my 1st house, if you can see that, and one of them's in my 12th. From that, wherever it is, circling the room. So in the USA chart, it's the 3rd house. We're back to that. Communication. So what's going on? Anybody follow the news? Okay. Well, it depends on what your source is. So I would advise you to find alternative sources and compare to what I call MSM. A lot of people call it MSM. Yeah, there's a couple chairs here. So why do I say that? Because I think there's more opinion in the news now than maybe facts. And then we hear the same old crap all day long. And you know, what does it do? It makes you want to turn the TV off. And what's the TV about? The programs. Oh, it's programming you. Programs. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that, but you know what I mean. So, if you're being programmed, try an alternative, listen to other people. Tucker got out of it. Go check him out if you got X, the bird, what do they call it, Twitter? No longer, it's X. But seriously, you need to listen to a lot of people's, maybe we could call it opinion, okay? Now, Capricorn, which I am, rules government, big business, and being in the public. I don't have it in the 10th house, got it in the 9th house of metaphysics, religion, spirituality, metaphysics. I'm there. I don't know about you guys, you people, mostly women. People, let's say people. I don't like the term guys when there's a lot of women. Okay. I'm very old school, why not? What's wrong with that? Capricorn is also a conservative sign. Not necessarily politically, but I am that too. But, you know, I could go on and on about myself because I know my chart. So what do you have in your 10th house? Do you have a planet there? What signs on your midheaven? See, awaken to this. Even if you don't have a planet there, that's still your 10th house. So every 27 and a half days, the moon's gonna hit your 10th house. Okay? Because it keeps traveling through the 360 degrees of the circle. Keeps going. Mercury goes a little slower, but that's the next speed up. The sun is 1 degree every day, give or take. We got a leap year, so we have to cut some things shorter and some things expand. See, it isn't every month when it's the 20th and then it's the next sign. I think Pisces might start on the 18th some years, okay? And Scorpio may go all the way to the 24th of October. So you've got, you know, to account for these. What sign moves faster? What sign moves slower? Up here, that's it. There's one here too. You got a full house here. Okay. So, watch what you have. Get that cafeastrology.com, as I said. Get your chart. If you don't know your time, sometimes when I'm doing a psychic reading and I want to look at your cycles right now, and we don't know your time, I will ask you things like, when are you more awake? Are you an early bird, morning person, or do you kind of come alive at night? I come alive afternoon, I'm telling you. So my store opens at 1 unless Susie goes there. I can't move. I used to get up, and I drove the cab. I used to get up at 3:30 to get the dialysis people out for the 6 o'clock appointment, brushing 2 cars off in the winter, my own and the taxi. A lot of fun. Yeah, those days are gone. Oh, my chart is back. Anybody else want to look at it? Did you all see it? Not that it's that important. However, that stellium is in my 10th house. Okay. So, stellium is power. So what you do is you look at what are the planets. Well, Venus, poor Venus, is crunched between Pluto and Mars. They're all in Aquarius, the sign of being out there. Somebody asked me where I was born. I said in the cosmos. Well, it's true. As we come from lifetime to lifetime, I'm a strong believer of having lived before. I know for sure who I was in a couple lives. And I believe I was Madame Blavatsky. If anybody has anything against her, I'm sorry. She sounds so much like me. Anyway, she had Cancer rising. She was a Leo, and I forget where her moon is. I have Jupiter in Leo, and my moon's in Cancer. So already I got 2 contact points with her chart. Okay? And this is something you can see in a chart. So awaken to this. If any of you feel like you lived before, you probably did. If you don't, maybe you didn't. Okay? Not everybody maybe does that. Or did you live on another planet in another universe? I don't know. I think there's only one universe, but some people say 2. Another galaxy, we could say it that way. So, how do you awaken? You have a trigger. You're somewhere, you're having dinner, and all of a sudden the restaurant looks like you've been there before. Only it was in the 1800s, not now. Something about it. Maybe it's just the design they picked in the restaurant. Or you meet somebody and you go, don't I know you from somewhere? And you try to figure out what schools you went to and where you lived and whatnot, and none of it touches. Probably a past life. But my mother used to say, the eyes are the path to the soul. If somebody can't look at you, they're lying. So, maybe you've heard that before too. My mother was born, she lived through the Depression. And she was good. She was a good mother. So, I look to Saturn in the chart to see what kind of person you might have been before. Mine's in Gemini, so I could have been a talker or a writer or maybe a stagecoach driver, I don't know. Your ascendant can be your last birthday. So if you know your exact degree, you'll know your exact date. Now, I didn't bring my ephemeris. I do use an ephemeris, even though I have a program for getting these out in a couple minutes. But the ephemeris, you can carry that thing with you, and they are heavy. They're thick. 100 years or 50, depending which one you have. So you look in there, and you see right away where somebody's planets are. Even if I don't, have my computer handy, I can see your planets. So if you're really interested in this, I would definitely buy an ephemeris. When you do that, you can see where your Saturn is. Now, Saturn's going to be in a sign 2.5 years. So it just went into Pisces last year. So for 2.5 years, it was also in Aquarius, along with, went over my Sun and my Mercury and my midheaven. Anybody got Capricorn planets, Saturn went over that. Aquarian planets, Saturn already went over that. And now Saturn is in Pisces. Now Pisces is dreaming, mysticism, creativity, healing, hospitals, clinics, prisons. It rules all this. Just picture the two fish circling, lack of direction. So now you get the mystic, you get the intuitive, the psychic. More of you are probably dreaming really heavy-duty dreams. Well, who's talking to you? When you're dreaming, you're still attached to the cord, to the silver cord. When you're detached, then you're not in the body anymore. Okay, that's a fact. So, you're going out there somewhere. Who are you talking to? Relatives, people you knew, teachers, spirit guides maybe. Maybe spirit guides. So the dreams are bringing in information, and sometimes when you're fighting a battle, how many of you fly? I fly a lot. Nobody can catch me when I'm flying. I'm telling you. You too. So certain things in a dream book or even online, you can go on. I don't use Google. I use DuckDuckGo, but that's up to you what you want to use. But seriously, you go and you put in what does flying mean, or anything that you have in your dream. What is it when you're fighting a battle and you see a lot of blood? And this one dream way back when I was not too very old, there was this merry-go-round, because I used to go there in Chickawaga, actually. Dingens, there was a school, they had a merry-go-round. That'd be in my dream, and there'd be like people laying there all bloody in the merry-go-round. I looked in the dream book and it was something good. Yeah. So you never know when the dream sounds not so hot, but you look up what the symbol might mean, and that might give you a clue. Usually the dream will be within 7 days. It will be meaningful. If you remember the dream that strongly, if you see 3 numbers, you can play. I don't do that, but some people, you might get the numbers that way. It's just a thought. So, okay, what else shows past life in a chart? Well, I would say certain houses, like back to the 8th house. This is a heavy-duty house. It's Scorpio's house. So it can rule a past life where you were living in the dark world. I don't want to say it in any other derogatory fashion. Dark world, not enlightened, having power over people. There's a Scorpio keyword, power. Just think, Hillary. Scorpio. Scorpio can really want that power. or someone with the Scorpio ascendant, other people might see your power, even if you don't. So your ascendant is how other people see you, okay? So, with this USA chart, we've got the Scorpio ascendant, and what's this country? Well, people mostly think US power, right? We're supposed to be number one, I don't know if we're still there, give or take. We are, we're still there, trust me, we're still there. See, because Pluto is just shifting. And don't forget, after the signing of the Declaration, there were many, many, many years of that battle, the revolution. So Pluto was in Aquarius for that war, even up to 1812. I'm not sure if it went into Pisces or not. So I've also added in the book the planets, let's call it the planets of generation. So Pluto rules a generation. A lot of times you'll get along with your grandchildren but not your own children. That's a generational thing because their Pluto is in the sign after yours, but the grandchild might be two signs, which would be a sextile, 60 degrees back to geometry. Yeah, so that's why that works that way, okay? So the other two planets of generation are Uranus, which is an 84-year cycle, so I'm getting close to that one. And the Neptune is 165, I believe. So these planets were discovered later and later and later, you know, in time when they developed your telescopes and better ways of seeing farther out there. When they discovered Pluto, they say around 1930. Neptune rules, they call Uranus the Awakener, which is one of the words in my title, and Neptune the Dissolver. And Pluto, Isabel Hickey didn't have that in her book. She wrote a separate book when I first bought the hardcover. Now, and it's one of the best books to get if anyone wants to get a book that covers almost everything. And that's Astrology, A Cosmic Science by Isabel Hickey. One of the first books I ever had, and I got it right from her. She lived in Massachusetts at the time. She was probably in her 70s or 80s at the time I bought the book from her. In those days, there was no Amazon. There was McCoy's, which was in Virginia. You could get a lot of astrology books there. I don't know if they're still in business. That's where I bought a lot of my books. But that's a good book, and Amazon does have it. I wouldn't bother with Barnes & Noble because I don't think they're going to carry it, but who knows? They might have a copy. I don't know. Yes.
Can you repeat the name again?
Yeah, Astrology, A Cosmic Science, and Isabel, Isabel Hickey, Hickey. I met her in 1974 when my first AFA conference. She signed my book. I have her signature in my book. I took it with me. That person meant a lot to me, as well as my teacher here locally. So your generational, I give you a page about Uranus here and a page about Neptune. And what they have discovered on the bottom of page 14 is, well, that's not what I wanted to say. But this, Uranus rules different parts of your life depending on what I call the aspect. So the first opening square, 19 to 21 years, it's also a moon, a Saturn square. Then you've got Uranus opposition, 38 to 44. And then you've got the Uranus closing square, 63 to 65. Some of you might be around there, late 50s, heading for it. And then Uranus return, 84. So that's a cycle of Uranus, 84 years. Also on the bottom of 15, I put the dates for Neptune in Pisces. Saturn's going to catch up to Neptune eventually, and it's April 4th to August 4th, 2011, 2012 to 2025, and it must retrograde back 25 to 26 for a while. So there's your dates there. If you don't have an ephemeris, you can at least look there. Okay, now let's do this. Am I close to? I wanted to pass around these eclipses. There's 4 of them. We all know about April 8th, right? Solar eclipse. That means the moon's in front of the sun blocking it. And that's why we're going to get total darkness. The lunar eclipse will happen first, March 25th. And I gave you the dates here. Oh, and by the way, the time, I noticed a typo on the Pisces. It's supposed to be 10:34 p.m. instead of 7. I fixed it in my book. That's on page 16. That's for the September 17th Pisces. It should be 10. So I've got that next lunar return on page 3 here. And then I've got the next solar return, which will be October 2nd. Now, why do we get these? Okay, we'll start over here again. Now, don't hold on to it forever. Okay.
There's gonna be
Like you
another
did last
eclipse,
time.
I thought this was the
Okay,
last one
so
for a
the
long
reason I'm
time.
passing those around is because, all right, when an eclipse happens, I forget, okay, it's probably written here. Okay, March 25th, you're gonna get the lunar return, you go by the degrees. So, it says 5 degrees and 7 minutes of Aries. Doesn't really say Aries, but it is Aries. And then you look to the next month when the moon hits the 5 again. So for 6 months at 5 degrees, you're gonna get, according to what aspect it is, you're gonna get something happening. So probably around the 25th, give or take, because it's March 25th. For 6 months, so that'll go up to September. And then we get the next lunar return, anyway. Now, the thing in the chart, my daughter was born with a new moon and an eclipse, an 18-year cycle. How do we know that? Because the nodes are near the moon or the sun, or both. So in those charts, you've got April 8th, the solar return is gonna be 19 of Aries. I should have put those in there. Oh yeah, here it is, in Aries, it's written in English first. Okay, in Aries, okay. 19 degrees. Now, my sun is 19 degrees of Capricorn, so that's a square. Going over Buffalo, oh my God. What does this mean? Well, a square can be, a positive word is a challenge. A negative word would be some sort of concern, some sort of problem. So I like to say it's a challenge.
Let's hope so.
When you're 80, you can do that. Even maybe 70. You come to a point in your life where all the heavy-duty stuff in your chart doesn't matter anymore, because you asked for that when you came in at that moment in time. You asked to do these karmic lessons so that you can become, as I call it, one with God. And if you don't understand every little thing, and who knows everything? I certainly don't.
Nobody.
Right? How many classes have you taken where I don't know what that is? Yeah. So you just study and use your talents and your blessings. That's what I call them. Whatever you're here to do, you should figure out what is your purpose in life. And when you know that, and your parents might have said, no, don't study that. Do this. Dad's got a law firm, you should be a lawyer. Maybe he wants to be a dancer or something creative. I don't know that lawyers are that creative. Anybody a lawyer? Okay, well, you could be a creative lawyer, I suppose.
Creative.
Oh, Christina.
One match. I didn't say
It's
that.
okay, it's all good. We have our opinions, don't we? So your chart is gonna say who you are. So if your son's in the 3rd house, maybe you're gonna be a communicator, maybe you're gonna write a book, maybe you're gonna work for a newspaper, maybe you're gonna, run a TV camera, or a radio station, or whatever. You may not be the voice, but you could own the station. That's a good one, yeah, if you have that kind of bucks. Okay, so that'd be your 3rd house. 1st house, oh, me first, what the heck, that's Aries' house. Oh, by the way, I do have the chart there, in the back. And I made this up myself on a website once, so I included, it's pretty colorful. And the houses are numbered, and the zodiac sign that rules that house. Even if you have Scorpio rising, Aries still rules the 1st house. Okay, can you get that in your mind? Okay, so here we've got Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. You got it. Don't you have a book?
I do, but I'm looking
You didn't
for
get a
it.
book?
Okay.
Yeah, I have a book. Okay.
I'm
Page,
just listening.
18. Each, and then the planet is also there. So there's Aries, number 1, and then there's Mars, okay? It's kind of, hard to see. You might need a pair of these, but that's always gonna be true, okay? So no matter what you have as your ascendant, Aries is still ruling the 1st house. Okay, so that's where it gets complicated. The 1st house is me. It's my young life when I was a kid. If you have Saturn there, maybe you lost your father at a young age, or your grandfather might have meant a lot to you, or you had a struggle in your life. Whatever planet is there, Jupiter, maybe you're, on the heavy side and you just can't seem to shake it. Jupiter might, magnanimous, it might, yeah. So Jupiter in the 1st house, but if you have Sagittarius, anybody know that you have Sagittarius rising? That's ruled by Jupiter. It's like you can get in any door. Everybody likes you. I could show you Biden's chart. Okay, he's got Sagittarius rising, 3 planets in the 12th house in Scorpio. Duh. Nightmare, right? But Venus, even though it's still in Scorpio, 26 degrees, it's conjunct his ascendant. Everybody likes him, no matter what he does. At least they did. I don't know. Things are changing. He also has his moon at 0 Taurus. What do you think 0 Aquarian Pluto is doing? That's a square. Taurus to Aquarius. We could say challenge. We could say other things. Pluto, the transformer. The moon, I will live forever in Taurus, the moon in Taurus, long life. Taurus is your longest living person. The old oak tree. They never part too far from the ditch the trench they've created. So if you have your moon in Taurus, you can do that way too. So I'm gonna live forever, 0 Taurus. And then Pluto comes along and says, maybe not like you were before, maybe. So where is it in his chart? Okay, well you have to figure out, okay, well it must be down here because we've got Sagittarius rising. So you could take any chart. There's Sagittarius. So Aquarius is here. Oh, it's his 4th house. Endings and new beginnings. Da, 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 da. I don't know. I'm just saying. I could talk about the other guy too, but I won't. I know a lot about him if you wanna know.
So let me ask you something. You
Sure.
mentioned something about, like, what you were supposed to do in life.
Yeah,
So say you've done that.
Your
and
purpose.
For not yourself, what was taken.
Well, you might have more than one thing. A lot of the signs rule more than one thing. I mean, I do paintings, I do
Yeah.
art. I create all these things that you've got in your hands. I put all those together on the computer. I'm a computer geek. I went to school to learn it. Okay? And then I do these readings. So you can do more than one thing and you can do them all. Do it, be that woman that's gonna do be a mother and a worker and whatever they used to say in the, burn the broad time. I lived through that too.
No, I just
See,
think I
I
have a
never-
bad taste because it was taken by not my affair.
Well, you have to look at
We're
the
not gonna get further
progressions.
into why that is, but you know.
Now, those progressions, and you get back to this chart in the book, that's what those progressions are. A day for a year. So we'd have to have an ephemeris for this for 1776. And then we would count 248 days after July 4th. And what is that gonna be? Well, we can tell you, the sun would be in, oh, where the heck is it? I don't know, I'm having a hard time finding it. Maybe it's in yellow or something. Maybe they eliminated it. Well, the moon is in Pisces, and the moon in the chart of the USA actually was 25 Aquarius. So Pluto won't catch up to the moon for a good 17, 18 years maybe, because it's gonna be in Aquarius 20 years. But that rules the people, and I always say, Americans, freedom first at all costs, moon in Aquarius. Okay? We're not gonna lose that. Who's gonna take it? They're gonna try. They're always gonna try. Never succeed. See, Ben Franklin knew what the heck he was looking at, okay? Because he put the sun at 13 and 13 minutes for the 13 colonies. That's what I read when I was doing my research. Had you done July 2nd, when it wasn't quite completed, the sun wouldn't have been at 13 yet, but 11 and a half, 12, you know. And so he picked the time, and we have the eagle ruling the chart, which is you didn't hear that part before. Yeah, the totem animal is the eagle for US.
Okay.
It's also for the Nazis, right, Russia, the Romans. Well, it rules Scorpio, so it's power. Maybe the turkey would have been a good idea. Can't fly though, that's the problem. Well, Ben, you know, he was a little on the hefty side, so he probably liked his fair share of turkeys, right? I kid you not. I don't know why I can't see the sun here. Because it's so small, and I didn't bring those extra charts with me. But it is 13 Cancer. Oh, there it is. Oh, gosh. See, it was probably yellow. There it is, 13 Cancer, but you can't see the zero, the circle. Looks like it's in the 9th house, at 13.
Yeah.
So anybody that, you know, has a pen, you can put a little circle right there in the 9th house. So the sun in the 9th house, this is your Congress, your laws, it rules rules the gateway to knowledge in the higher realms, metaphysics and that kind of thing. So this country, it's not really a religion to be an American, but it almost kind of is in a way. It's like a sacrosanct thing, at least other people think so. I don't know if you're an American if you don't think so. But like I said, I'm a Capricornian. We're kind of into that political government thing. I did work for the county for almost 5 years, so that was the worst thing. Oh my God. But I learned a lot about those people. Anybody ever work at the county? Know anybody who does?
I worked for Congress.
Oh my goodness, that's even worse. That's big stuff.
It was bad.
Oh, that's big leagues, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's why I can't find the sun. Okay. See, am I done? Oh, and he's,
close to.
I'm close, okay.
yeah.
Anybody got a question?
I do.
Yes.
So I'm adopted, so I don't know what time I was born.
Oh,
Would
I
I
hear
st-
that all the time.
But would I still be able to get like an accurate chart?
we do have a, way of doing it with certain things that have happened in your life, being the first major thing, like a move or somebody dying that was close to you or something like that. And then the other question, I don't know if you missed it earlier, I said, when I'm doing my psychic readings, when are you more awake?
Right, yeah,
2 in the morning, 12 noon, 5 p.m., you know, then I kind of
go from there.
turn it that way. There's ways of counting what's close to the ascendant. So 17 Taurus and Mars is 4, so that's 2, I'm not good with math, okay, 4 plus another, say it's 20, I think.
She must
So
be close.
24,
Yeah, with the
20,
close.
probably 21. 20, actually. I had my child, my boy, and there's Mars. So when you count the degrees, that's like something that'll happen, and you can do that in every house. So you could count something in the 4th house, and then like there could be a move or a big change. So it depends what house it is. But you can count the degrees to the cusp, is what I was doing. So I was actually only 19, so I probably had bad math here. And then my daughter's not quite 2 years younger, and that's it. 2 kids, that's it. Yeah. But they're in my first house, so you could do that with anything. Okay, yeah, 5. Okay, anybody else got a question?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just,
so-
you were talking about how you could find past lives in your chart?
Yeah.
What houses, was it the?
Well, the 12th house will show stuff,
12th, okay,
and also where Saturn is,
okay,
for sure.
perfect.
That'd be
The
Yeah, thank you.
ascendant, if you know your exact time, will be your last birth date. Mine in my last life was May 8th, 17 Taurus. Anybody want to look in an ephemeris, you'll find it, okay?
Okay, cool.
And when I was, for the end of the talk, when I was, did everybody see the, okay, yeah.
How do you find the last birthday again?
Ascendant,
The degree, so you got 8 Scorpio, so that's approximately November 8th or 9th maybe? 10th?
How did you figure that?
Well, it starts around the 24th of October, so they count all the days till you get to 8. So you're gonna be into November probably, or it could be the 1st of November or something. I'd have to look.
You start at where it transitions, like, right, like if you're 8 degrees of, what did you say, Scorpio?
Yeah,
And if Scorpio starts on the 22nd, it would be the 30th.
right, so you count 8
It would be
days.
the 30th.
Yeah, into November, it would go, almost November, yeah. So anybody with a Leo ascendant, then you'd go, you know, you'd have a July or August birthday last life. So then you can kind of figure out what the chart looks like after that. And I have done that. And like I said, Madame Blavatsky, she had the Leo ascendant, no, she was a Leo with Cancer ascendant and real close to my degrees, and so I fit right in there. Now I'm gonna look at Ben Franklin's chart next. I haven't done that yet. And maybe it was there. I didn't go that far back. Well, I enjoyed it. I hope you
thank
did.
you.
Thanks. Okay, now we gotta pack her up.
We have a shop at the McKinley Mall called Awaken, and Carol does do readings, so you can always message her
Yeah.
to know what she is in that day.
Message, text.
Yep, text message is
They
always
don't
best.
answer their phone, so text.
I asked them to turn the heat up over there, so.
Yeah, we'll see, yeah, we will
The
see.
bigger conference room?
Oh, I should've.
Well, somebody canceled.
I took a photo of the chart, is that okay?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Cause I went thinking you were in that one and it was empty.
How about that? Well, we had a full house, and you
Yeah,
know,
Not,
Oh,
we
But
gave
I
out
wonder if
what,
other people
30
tried to
books
come in
almost?
and then
Well,
come in.
more.
Yeah, that room was empty.
Yeah.
Somebody canceled. I don't know. It was
Okay,
supposed to
well,
be
there's
empty.
gonna be another guy here. Oh, I gotta turn my thing off.
I have a question, probably you answered